Pittsburgh, Pittsburgh loves, Pittsburgh loves, Pittsburgh loves, Pittsburgh, Pittsburgh, Pittsburgh loves, Pittsburgh loves, Pittsburgh loves, Pittsburgh.
All right. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to oneberg.com here on Facebook Live and YouTube channel. I'm your host, Brian Carruthers. Welcome to Pittsburgh Loves Pittsburgh, the show that's solely dedicated to Pittsburgh loving itself. Let's bring on our co-host, Ed Troop. You know him and you love him. Here's a guy that loves Pittsburgh way too much. Hi, Ed.
Good morning, Brian. How are you?
Great. How was your weekend?
It's summertime in the Berg, man. It's a great time to be in southwestern Pennsylvania.
That's right. And now the weather's nice. You know, we have a very special guest today, Sonni Abatta in Florida. I think this is the time that we should encourage Sonni to move back to Pittsburgh, because right now it's been a very nice winter, manageable. And
Right.
now, man, it's absolutely beautiful.
I mean, it's the birds are chirping, the humidity's up, the smog in the city is there. You can't see right in front of you. It's great.
Yeah, for sure. Now, speaking of the city, did you go in? We had the big weekend, and even though Pittsburgh does love Pittsburgh, there's also a counterculture to that Pittsburgh hates Pittsburgh. And I feel like there's so much talk about that we can't manage events. If we do, they're out of control. I don't know what's going to happen when the NFL draft comes to Pittsburgh, when 1 million people, come to Pittsburgh over a weekend, because the mayor of Pittsburgh, we're one of the biggest cities in the United States, maybe mid-major, but he had a press conference that told people it's going to be a busy weekend. Make sure you look left and look right before you cross the street. What are we doing?
Exactly, right? I mean, it's a wild atmosphere on the North Shore. I think you and I were talking about it a little bit yesterday. My wife and I were down on Friday night, and it was packed. I mean, it wasn't even Kenny Chesney was Saturday, right? But
Yeah.
Friday, the whole crowd was kind of previewing everything, right?
Okay.
And you couldn't walk. It was tight. There was concerts at Stage AE, which was cool, and other stuff. And every bar was packed, people on the street. But I agree, man. I can't even think the NFL draft in a couple years, how they're going to coordinate all that on the north side. They got to take it to Point State Park. You have to have it down there because it's more open. There's more room, and everybody can funnel back into the city for whatever they need.
What were what were you and your family, the ultimate suburbanites, leaving Cannon McMillan for? What were you doing in the city? There was no Pirate game.
No, there was no Pirate game. My wife
I can't wait to hear what you were doing in town.
My wife had a retirement party for somebody she works with as a teacher. So
where was it at?
They had a little Tequila Cowboy.
Ed Troop was at Tequila Cowboy on Friday night.
I was there, man. I was a little bit out of my element, though. I'm not.
Yeah.
I mean, I like country music, but I'm not like a diehard country music person, So
yeah.
I'm not the kind of guy that's gonna have a cowboy hat on and hey, it's just not my scene.
The last time I was at Tequila Cowboy, I was at a birthday party as well, and every bathroom broke, and I couldn't believe people would even stay. I can't even believe people go there, but I can't believe people stayed there. There has to be a better spot in town than the place that has exploding bathrooms.
Yeah, and it's to their credit, that place is very spread out too. There's some bars outside, some bars inside. I mean, it's a cool scene. I was digging the environment. And true disclosure, I like Kenny Chesney. I like his music. I love Zac Brown Band. I know you're a big Zac Brown Band fan too. So all that's cool. But dude, I couldn't go down and sit with 80,000 people and people throwing up, drinking.
Why? Oh, here we go. Sweaty. I know you've never been to a concert before, right?
Yeah, right. But when you look at you
sound like I just want to say, you sound like an 80-year-old woman typing things on Facebook saying all those people down there throwing up and screaming. You're aging.
You've had a few of those comments over the weekend on Oneberg, I'm guessing. But
you're living them. You're telling me that you don't want to be around people that are throwing up. Do you think everyone at the same time, that 80,000 people at the same time during the concert threw up? And part two, wouldn't you have seen that as a headline in the newspaper?
Coming from the guy myself that throws up daily. So I mean, why don't I like people that throw up? I throw up daily, right?
No, did you hear about mass reports of throwing up?
No. What I did see, which I thought was fun, was there was a row of porta-johns, and I'm talking like 50 porta-johns deep from the middle of between PNC Park and AccuSure Stadium.
Right.
From the halfway point all the way to AccuSure was just 2 rows of porta-johns. It was pretty impressive. I've never seen so many porta-johns in my life.
It's a big crowd, and you got to wonder. And I know that there was one year of Kenny Chesney that got out of hand, right? Couches were burned.
Right.
They caught us, right? They caught Pittsburgh off guard. They burned couches, and the people put WWF theme music to drunk people. But like drunk people at concerts is not. Even though Pittsburgh loves Pittsburgh, we can't say that we are the only city that owns drunk fans. And it was hilarious, the captions and how they did it. But I think it was one year, and now Pittsburgh loves Pittsburgh and Pittsburgh hates Pittsburgh. Every Kenny Chesney concert, like you said, Ed, is filled with 80,000 people throwing up.
Of course, joking when I say that. I mean,
What time did you leave? What time did you leave the city to return to the suburbs? I'm going to take a guess.
3:30 a.m.
9:15. What?
A little bit more.
9:16.
No, more. No, I think it was like 10 o'clock. I think it was.
All right. That's probably that's the hour. That's your Cinderella hour.
Well, I mean, at that point, really look at your audience. When you look around, there's not too many people our age, past 10 o'clock on a Friday night, maybe a handful, but anybody married with kids, no way. I mean, this is.
That's true. You make a good point. Maybe by 10:15, Pittsburgh wants you to leave.
I think
you're ruining the vibe. You're killing the vibe down there.
Look at the creepy old ball-headed guy that's still here. What's he doing here?
Yes.
Good stuff.
Well, we have a special guest today, Ed, as you know, and I don't necessarily know what to do with my glasses. Speaking of being old, we talked about this yesterday.
Right.
I want to be like distinguished, but I also think I do look 100 years old in these. And Sonni Abatta is our guest. So beautiful and friendly and outgoing, and then she has to talk to an old tree. So I don't know how I want this to be. Maybe I'm going to do on and off a little bit to the inquisitive questions. I'm going to bite the glasses and go something like this.
Yeah, I think
for the most part, I'll keep them off.
Well, I also saw that you're back in front of the fireplace as well. So it's like fire. You need to change the title to Fireplace Chats.
But the fireside. Well, I need a card. I need a turtleneck that's a heavy knit turtleneck, maybe a longer beard, a pipe. Maybe this is more of a winter show, and I didn't even realize it.
It is a winter background.
I guess you're right. For as beautiful it is in Pittsburgh right now, why am I sitting in front of this dark, damp, dank fireplace?
Where you should go is your enclosed porch that you have, man. That would be an awesome background.
Oh, yeah, the enclosed porch. You're right.
That's where you need to go now.
That's where I need to go. Next week, we have a very special guest, my enclosed porch.
I've retreated back to my home office here after being in my awesome game room because I'm too lazy to take all my equipment back and forth from my basement up to here. And I know you love this right here behind me. Brian always
chair rail.
He always loves the chair rail. He's like, I
can't handle the chair rail. When I see the chair rail, I think, oh, I'm interrupting Ed's dinner.
I used to have the big Oneberg banner, but then you stole that off me 2 months ago, never gave it back. And then I have the Pirate banner, but it's like, I don't know.
I think it looks fine. I think
does it make sense to have a Pirate banner on a Pittsburgh Loves Pittsburgh show behind me?
I don't think. And hey, let's bring Sonni on. And she's going to be surprised to see you, Ed, because the last time she saw you, you weighed 100 pounds more.
This is true.
That's amazing. Let's see if she notices. How great would it be if the Sonni Abatta comes on and says, "Ooh, Ed, damn, you look good."
The Sonni Abatta.
All right, let's bring her on. All right. Our guest today, of course, you know her and you love her, formerly from KDKA. She left us to go to Orlando. The host of We Got to Talk with Sonni Abatta. Hi,
Ed,
Sonni.
I did notice that you looked good. I'm going to say. Yeah, I was like, who is this guy? I feel like the voice sounds the same, but he looks different. You look amazing. Good for you.
You do look great, Ed.
I appreciate it, Sonni. Yeah, new focus on health about Brian? Almost 2 years ago. This August it'll be 2 years, and life-changing. 101 pounds. 101 pounds.
Is it like diet and lifestyle, or like what are we eliminating? Carbs, sugar? What are we doing?
Yes, all of the above. Everything you just said. Work out 6 days a week on the treadmill. Low. I mean, I'm not. it's kind of a keto diet, but I'm not crazy. I mean, you read some of the stuff on keto where people like won't have ketchup because there's sugar in it and it's keto. I'm not that crazy. I do allow myself a little bit of carbs, but yeah, stay away from the carbs and the sugars. And it's been life changing. It's the best decision I ever made.
It's so easy for guys. It's really not fair. You're like the 10th man that I've heard of. I don't know how old you are, but I'm in my 40s at this stage of life. And they're like, all I have to do really is just like stop eating pizza and drinking beer after 7. And it's like 10 pounds gone. But congrats. I'm not bitter at all.
But we're holding on to so much weight, right? Like, so like.
Well, and you said the glasses things, Brian. I'm like this close to needing readers myself. And I'm doing one of these. Remember how like I used to make fun of my mom. She would like do this when she would look at the phone, kind of pull it. I'm starting to do that, the pullback. It's really embarrassing.
Here was my problem with the glasses, Sonny.
I have prop glasses here that are sitting. These are the best I can do.
Now, see, here's the thing. If I put those on, the glasses that you just had, it would be an online joke. They'd be like, look at this guy. You do it, and it's a home run. It's a home run.
Oh, thanks.
But I don't know. Sonny, let me ask. I'm going to use it when I ask you your first question.
Okay.
But Ed, quickly back to your weight loss.
Yeah.
And you were at Tequila Cowboy, and now you're not doing carbs. You're not doing anything. Are you getting trashed on one drink? That's a serious question.
Oh, I am the cheapest date in the world. And true disclosure, Sonny, and I'm very public about this too. I had weight loss surgery in August of 2022. I had gastric sleeve.
Okay.
So, my stomach got reduced to 1/3. So that it was the best decision I ever made. Like I said, it changed my life. And I was on 6 different medications for high blood pressure and other things, all gone. Sleep apnea, all gone. I'm a big advocate of the surgery for people that need it. And, to go from almost 300 pounds to 189,
that's crazy. Okay, wait, can I just ask you a question, not to flip this around, but was weight something you always struggled with, or is this like an adulthood kind of thing?
No, my entire life. Yeah. Brian has little league photos of me that he can show you that are quite amusing. So,
oh man. Well, good for you. Listen, and the honesty and transparency, I applaud that.
Yeah, and you mentioned the drink thing. I can't have carbonation, so no type of carbonation. So no beer, no. So yeah, I'm a vodka and water guy.
Drink vodka and water.
I am vodka and water, and it's funny when I go to a bar and I ask for that, people kind of give me a double look that I'm mixing my vodka with water. It's like, man, this guy's hardcore alcoholic, and I'm like, no, I'm not. I'll have 1 or 2 drinks and I'm done, but I can't have carbonation. I can't have the tonic. I can't have the mixture.
Wow.
But what's funny is no one can give props. And Sonny, I know you focus a lot on mental health on your own show and whatnot. Like Ed's my boy, right? I've known him forever. I've known him when he was big. I know him when he's small now. But it is amazing what people will say, like Ed's lost 100 pounds. Absolutely amazing. Best move for his family, his health, his life, everything. And people will go, he looks too skinny. His head looks too big. He does this. Well, how did he lose that? How did he do it? It's so unfair, and the world absolutely sucks.
Yeah, it does. People always find just the worst things to say. But listen, they're not out there doing the work. So I think there's probably a tinge of maybe jealousy in that too, because really the mental strength it takes to like buckle down, turn around, to acknowledge it publicly. Like you're doing this in front of people too, right? Like people are watching you as you're doing this. I seriously, I applaud you.
Well, take all your clothes off and show Sonny the complete body. Like she will be impressed.
There you go. Just a little ab flip. Let's just say.
A little.
You don't want to
keep your glasses on though.
You don't want to see that. There's a lot of hanging skin. When you lose 100 pounds, it comes with a lot of skin.
Yes. I've interviewed many plastic surgeons, and that's actually with a lot of women lately too, like all of the Ozempic trend and the semaglutides. Yeah. They're like, we're cutting more skin than ever.
And that's one of the reasons why I'm very publicly when people ask me about what I did, because, I struggled with weight. I did Weight Watchers. I counted points. I did Atkins. I fasted. I did every diet. I even did medications. I didn't do Ozempic, but I did a form of it that actually got me kind of sick. That's another story.
Well, did he die?
For another time.
Oh, there you go.
But it's I just don't want to. Now I'm back. There you go. I don't want to put any false information out there. So I'm very honest and upfront with people to say what I did, because I don't want somebody to think, oh, he did Ozempic or he did this or he did that. No, here's what I did. And it's a lot of work. You still got to work out and you still got to watch your diet. But enough about me.
I say Ozempic has been the greatest thing to ever happen in the United States, right? I mean, you see skinny people now or people who even lost 10 pounds and you think, how'd that bitch get Ozempic?
The conversations that happen in the circles of women, you would die. We're like, not me. I'm not owning this because listen,
I'm in them, Sonny. I'm
you're
in
the women's
touch.
circle.
I'm welcome.
Okay. I'm just saying there's a lot of conversations happening lately, especially amongst groups of women. You see someone shrinking by like a third of their size or they're 20 pounds down, 20. And you're like, and some people are like, I just stopped drinking wine. And I'm like, okay. I mean, I'll believe you if that's what you're telling me. And other people are very open about it. But I mean, the weight is falling off like boom, boom in the women.
Well, the thing that's crazy, I mean, in the celebrity realm, right? Kelly Clarkson used to be very big, right? And now she's not. But it's kind of like steroids in baseball. Just come clean with what you did because people are going to find the truth. And there's someone out there who eventually is going to get paid enough money to say, I wrote Kelly Clarkson that prescription. And nobody cares. I don't know if people want to look good, feel good. I don't know if anybody is really after you until you want to hide it. So that's why I applaud Ed, because I think that people are on the witch hunt to figure this out.
Yeah. It's really the psychological like side effects of like, will you admit to it? Will you not? And I don't judge anyone. Many people I know have talked about it openly who are on it. Many still have not. And listen, people have to decide what they want to share ultimately. But I have respect for people. Whatever you want to do that's safe to look how you want to look, go for it.
Well, and just one other note too. I always tell people too, you got to find out what works for you.
Yeah.
Everybody's different. Everybody's built different. Sonny, you brought up a good point, and I have this conversation with my wife. I have 4 sisters, and exactly right. For a guy to lose 10 pounds is the equivalent to a woman to lose 1 pound. And it's just
it's crazy. It's crazy. The hormones are just
absolutely
the biggest challenge. Yes.
Yep. So it's not fair to compare men to women when it comes to weight. That's first and foremost. And then additionally, everybody's different. So for me, I tried everything under the sun. Weight loss surgery worked. I still have to work at it, which is fine. I hold myself accountable every day. But again, everybody has to find what works for them.
Yeah. No
Sonny,
it's a judgment-free zone.
Well, not with me, but yeah. Sonny, I want to thank you. I do follow your Instagram stories and videos of We Got to Talk with Sonny. I listen to your podcasts.
Thank you.
And I now feel like I am an expert in dealing with PMS. But when I say that, I've used it. Not, of course, I'm a man, but I saw this whole PMS discussion on We Got to Talk with Sonny and all the comments. And it is interesting from a male perspective to just be educated. And so I said to my wife, I said, how's your PMS?
Did you get slapped? You can't ask it that way. But go ahead. Let me see how this turned out.
No, I said, hey, I was just in the bathroom looking at videos of Sonny. Are you PMSing?
Can you tell Brian grew up with all brothers? He had no sisters, just all brothers.
So did my husband. He has like no knowledge of, well, he does now, of like anything female. But you can't word it like that because that's like you're being a bitch. You have to be. Am I allowed to swear? I won't.
Yes, please.
Okay. But here's how you have to do it next time. And it's going to always be obviously like the week before. Don't keep track of her cycle for her. Just pay attention to when she's a little snappier with the kids, or maybe she's, there's more like, for me, it's like snacks and sweets and stuff. And just say, honey, I noticed that you seem to be really stressed out. Is there anything I can do for you? Just reword it next time. Don't.
So you don't think I should be like, Sonni Abatta's Instagram page told me that you're PMS.
Listen,
leave that out.
Yeah, leave the PMS. It sounds accusatory. Just be like, honey, you seem stressed. How can I help you?
Right. But the reason I bring it up is you've made a major shift in the last how many years, from being in Pittsburgh media to Orlando media, and now out on your own, taking more of a lifestyle approach. How did that change come about, and does it feel right for you?
Yeah, it's so fun. I mean, I can talk about stuff like this now, obviously working in news and working under the umbrella of a media company. I'm not going to talk about what a raging bitch I am the week before my period because I couldn't. But yeah, like this format in the digital sphere with the podcast and online with the blog and things, I get to really tap into stuff that people are talking about. And on that post in particular, I cannot tell you how many women were like, I do feel like I changed into a whole different woman, like 3 days before I get my period. And then I'm like back to normal. And the ability to sort of like relate to people on topics that, I wasn't able to cover, at least in that fun of a way or overt, has been really nice. This is the way it's all going too. I mean, look at your show, and people want to hear normal people, regular people talk about regular stuff. And I love that there's like a a space for it now.
And news is kind of bastardized now, right? The minute someone writes an article, 4 million websites pick it up. You're reading the same thing. Maybe it's tweaked and put into a different tone, but it's almost like news is so readily available and imitated. Having real conversations about things that are not on these other websites, I think, is what people now are using social media and news for.
Yeah. They're like building their own community. I mean, around things information they want or things they love. And they're kind of just going toward, I mean, there's upsides to it. There's downsides to it, but I love that you can find your people now online a lot easier.
So it's definitely interesting, Sonny. You kind of came up through the same time Brian and I did with, going into journalism, going into broadcasting. And I was just having this conversation with somebody the other day. It said, "Hey, Ed, we watch your podcast with Brian every week, this, that, and this." And I said, it's completely changed. The whole broadcasting, radio, TV, whatever, is completely changed. There's so many different podcasts, whether it's video or audio. Just last week, actually not last week, last month, I should say, I started listening to the Travis and Jason Kelsey podcast. I can't get enough of it now. And I was like, forever, I was like, I'll never listen to that. And then I listened to one and I'm like, oh man, this is great. I'm going to listen to another one. So it just completely changes. And the future of the business, definitely right here, what we're doing right now.
Yeah. And I mean, like, even I like sitting in and like hearing you guys in the beginning, like it's when you can tell when people have a rapport and when I don't know, sometimes when you're driving, you just want to feel like you're in a comfortable conversation and pop on a podcast or something that just, I don't know, makes you feel good and smile like you're part of the group. I mean, I think I love what you guys are doing.
Thanks. And I forgot that you started in sports. You reminded me the other day.
Oh yeah.
The future of sports journalism. We had Andrew Stockey on, who I know, and
yes, of course,
Paul Alexander, and these people who talk about it.
I love Paul.
The sports industry, the more people tweet, the less people want to hear from, quote, sports journalists. That whole industry is changing.
Oh, that's interesting. So like people, like just normies kind of like chiming in, like they don't want the professional coverage of the sport anymore. They just kind of want to highlight the fan reactions and things.
Well, that or Russell Wilson, he doesn't need to sit in front of all these guys anymore. I can just tell you what I think about the game. Forget, I don't want you to spin it on me. It's in print, or sit down like Ed said, the Kelsey cast or something. It's in some ways it's taking those sided controversial takes where people twist and move people's words and kind of normalizing it.
Yeah. And they don't need to go like we used to do post game after every game, and they don't need that like cluster of reporters around to get their message out or the reaction to the big play or something. It's just like they're going to hop on their phone right after and get their version of the events out. Like the Caitlin Clark stuff. Like, I mean, she didn't do I can't forget. I remember the name of the girl who pushed her, but she didn't even do an interview afterward. She just went through, there was just social media discussion about what happened. And it's like, I don't know. I obviously love to see media evolve in that way. And I think it's really important for people in positions of that are high profile or positions of power. I love that they have access to us every day, the normal people who are their fans or their followers. But I obviously hope that like the traditional media never becomes redundant, because there is a space for, and Brian, you and I talked about this on the phone too. Like, I don't think this citizen journalism should be the only thing serving people. I think social media should not be the only source of information we get. I think there's a place for traditional legacy media, solid reporting, people who have those connections. Good reporting takes time, relationships, understanding the bigger picture. It's not just sort of reactive like citizen journalism or this like smaller micro journalism can be. So I hope that they can like coexist. Sports is a little different, but especially in news, I hope that there's a place for both.
And if you're Caitlin Clark, why would you say anything? I had CNN on last night, and I do have the Sonny role. Anything on cable news after 6 o'clock is entertainment, but
maybe not in sports. But
CNN is covering this as a news story and says that Caitlin Clark shoved to the ground is a larger conversation on race and a larger conversation on white empowerment. And it's like, I don't know, man. People were shoving Michael Jordan down his whole career. People were still throwing at Derek Jeter. If you're Caitlin Clark, who's still trying to get into a league and start to compete and still be a brand, there's no reason to add to this conversation. Just play basketball.
Okay, but here's my question. As someone who never played, like I was always an individual sport kind of gal, not very like coordinated, but like, does that happen a lot in basketball? Like, is there a lot of overt like pushing to the ground like that? Because that was like a little aggressive and it made me this is why I never could play basketball. I'd be like, like that happens.
Well, Ed would never shove you to the ground, Sonny. But yeah, I mean, Ed, right? I mean, all that back in the day, the bad boys of Detroit, which was Dennis Rodman and John Sally, and these guys would shove Jordan, Larry Bird. This is kind of like old school basketball. So you don't see it as much now because I think all these guys are kind of against the league in a way where, they want to play together. They want to join forces. So it's definitely old school. What do you think, Ed?
I think it's two things going on. I think one is any sport, whether it's basketball, football, baseball, hockey, whatever, the divide between Division I and professional is big. A lot of people don't realize that. People think if you're a star athlete in Division I, you're playing for a big school, you're an automatic ticket to the NFL. Remember, we had that stat that we always talk about. 1.6% of Division I football players make it to the NFL, which tells you that even the worst player in the NFL is still one of the best. And every sport has those statistics. So when you go from playing in the Big Ten and you're the all-time leading scorer in NCAA history, not taking anything away from Caitlin Clark, I'm a big fan. You go to the WNBA, you now have people there that are more physical, more athletic. They've been doing it longer. And the second part of that is she has a target on her back. She is the mainstream in the media right now. She is the main story going into the league. And these old school people, these players that have been playing in the WNBA these last few years, they want to let her know what's up. They want to let her know, hey, we're here. We're going to be physical. We're not going to let you in this league. You're not going to cakewalk like you did on Thursday night at Iowa when you were playing Indiana, which had 3 people that couldn't even walk. You're now playing in a professional league, and they're going to get after it, man. They're going to get after it.
Everyone on Indiana could walk, by the way. That's an exaggeration.
You know what I meant.
Yeah,
I think too.
Competition's better.
The element of this gaining more traction and attention too, because it was 2 women. I mean, like you said, Brian, I mean, like you're right. And I guess I don't even need to know specifically that much about the history of that particular sport, but like you expect aggression in pro sports with men. There is some sort of societal expectation too. Like when you see women, even if it's at the highest level, the most elite athletes out there, and this is probably conditioning that I don't know if it needs to be broken or not, but like we do expect women to behave with decorum standards we don't place on men. So seeing that does jar the eyes a little more than like you expect the guys to be rough and tumble and in any sport. And so I think that's an interesting part of the discussion too.
But it's unfair.
But here's best news of all. It is June 4th. We're talking with Sonni Abatta about women's WNBA basketball.
She's back. The sports reporter is back.
Last night, well, yes, let's go. And then last night, Brian, CNN's talking about women's basketball. If you turn on ESPN's First Take, they're talking about women's basketball. Yeah. Last year on June 4th, 2023, we would not have been talking about women's basketball. Caitlin Clark has been huge for the sport. She's great for the sport. The fact that we're talking about it is a win in itself. The popularity is growing like crazy.
Yeah. So, I love that. I love that she's getting attention and bringing more eyeballs to it.
Sonny, what was your worst experience covering sports? That was KDKA Sports, right? When you were here?
I was well, in college, I freelanced at Fox Sports Net. I worked with a production company that did a show, and it was kind of like, I don't know how to describe it, but it would be like the fun side of like the off the field or off the court side of the player. So we went to training camp with the Steelers and we would do like interviews in the cafeteria and be like, are you a Leno guy or a Letterman guy? Or what do you eat after, like it was kind of fun and whatever. I did a high school sports show where I interviewed a lot of up and coming athletes. That was a little more strictly sports oriented. That was fun. But the worst experience was, there were 2 that come to mind. One of them was when I think I told you this. Someone asked me to, I was live sideline reporting for the minor league baseball team in Washington. I can't remember the name. Washington, what's the team? The minor league baseball team?
Wild Things.
The Wild Things, yes. Yep. Okay, so this was through this amazing production company that I kind of linked up with in college, and it was all freelance. I would meet them out at the field. I was like 19 years old. I had no car. My mom would have to drive me to Washington County. And I did a couple of really great, it was fan interactions. It was a little bit of pregame, a little bit of post, but a lot of what you see now with like arena stuff, arena reporting. Yep. And I was probably like 5 games in or something. And another guy not associated with my amazing production company was like, listen, we have a hot tub sponsor they put up a hot tub on the sideline and they're, trying to sell pools and hot tubs. What do you think about getting in a bikini and reporting live from the hot tub? And I was like, not happening. I was like, you gotta find someone else for that. I mean, it's fine if people want to do that. So that was a little like denigrating. And I remember being like, can't they tell I'm a serious journalist?
Right. Besides, I would have lost respect for you if you did that for the Washington Wild things. You were Major League Baseball hot tub material.
Right. Thank you I'm only going to the majors. If I'm going to take off my clothes and put on a bikini, it's going to be for the top.
This is rookie ball.
Not
Ron Acuno Jr. is there, not the guy who's also a mailman.
Can you imagine ever asking a male reporter to be like, can you just like, let's see the abs, just lift the shirt up a little bit, hold the mic, like, no, I mean, whatever. And it's hysterical now. The other bad experience was when Mark Madden really grabbed on to me and just talked a lot about me in the radio for a long time.
Is this when you were at KDKA?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I love Mark now. This is like a no hate, no shade. We have come to really work through our issues, but I was 19 and he was talking about what I was.
What does that mean? Well, tell us the story, but what does that mean you've worked through? Does that mean it's over, or does that mean like you went and had dinner with him and said, hey man, what's the deal?
It's over because this wasn't the Me Too era. I didn't have the backing of the world to be like, this is kind of shitty that someone did that to you. It was just expected. You're 19 and you're in an industry full of men. It was like, I don't know, maybe I thought of it as like hazing. Is that right? No, I have daughters now. I would be mortified if my daughters were spoken about in the way that I was spoken about on the radio. It's fine. It is what it is. I worked through it. I have this is not a trauma point for me, but
That's
it was
okay.
really,
we're like therapy. Go ahead.
Okay, good. So here's how I felt. No, I'm just kidding. That was not great. And I think, if I'm being honest with myself, this was when I was interning in 19. And let me say for the record, I was, I wasn't a person showing up just looking for the fun parts of the job. When I was an intern, it was all free labor back then too, right? Working for free. I was responsible. I was writing. I was on the go, right? So I'm thinking, I'm doing good work here. I'm showing up when I'm needed. I'm there late. I took the bus from Carnegie Mellon to KDKA to do this internship. I worked hard. And so for that to be like the only thing that was ever like picked up on, I was kind of like, bleh. But it's fine.
Right.
We had some interactions when I was still working in Pittsburgh, I think through DM on Twitter. And he was like, I was kidding. And I think there's, an appreciation now for, I don't know if appreciation is the word, but I think there's an acknowledgement on his part of maybe, okay, this was like maybe too much.
Okay. But two things. One, this is like the Howard Stern thing. You use everything you could to kill people throughout your career to get to the top. And then you go on a forgiveness tour when you're at the top and say, sorry, I did that. By the way, I'm still the king and I did that. So there's some hypocrisy there for sure. And I don't know if that's forgivable, although the world has forgiven Howard Stern for every single thing he said. And I'm a fan, but he shit on every single person and killed them any way he could, including when I worked with a guy in Philadelphia. His wife in the terms of these wars of radio, which now sound hilarious. Our kids don't even know what radio is. It's kind of like rap wars. It's like, why did Tupac have to die? Like, think of the music he would have made now, right?
I know. But, it's so awful.
It's terrible. But his wife, Stern and this guy, John DeBella, are in these radio wars together. Stern comes to Philadelphia, has his wife, who is a known, I don't want to say junkie is not the word, but I think she dealt with depression, alcoholism, whatnot. Yeah. She came on his show and talked about his penis size and talked about what an idiot he was and talked about personal life. She killed herself after that show. And so I do think, and I'm not saying that Mark Madden did these things or took it to that limit, but there was an evil side to entertainment.
Yeah. And oh gosh, I just realized I opened the most giant can of worms. I never talked about this publicly before. So if this gets around to Mark, let's talk it through. I love you, bro.
But let me get my glasses on.
I do think there is something indefensible about the taking advantage of someone in a situation where the power dynamic is so vast, right? Like I'm a 19-year-old intern. I'm the first person to ever go to college in my family on one side of it. Like, I'm not some like ritzy rich, life is my oyster. I'm like working hard. I have no connections. And here's a guy, on the other end of the spectrum who's really well respected and well established. And I have no way to come back and be like, hey, like when you were talking about what I was wearing or saying that implying that I was trashy in some way, like he knows nothing about my morals as a person, which, Brian, we went to high school together. Like the nerdiest of the nerds, like I'm like a pretty straight-laced kind of gal, but the stuff that he was saying on the air, it was not favorable. So I had no way to defend it. I had no way to say, hey, I'm a kid, pretty much. I'm in college. Can you stop?
Right.
And so it did become a little bit of a running joke after. I mean, listen, I did fine for myself. I worked eventually, thank goodness, the hard work and time that I put in did pay off. And I relied on my brain, always.
Right.
And my work
but
ethic.
you will, but there is a problem. And I know that you're giving him the exit, but there is always, and we're just talking about, like Ed said, we're talking about the WNBA. In some sick world, they'll say, hey, just be happy for the free press. I'm talking about Sonni Abatta. That's also skewed as well.
Yeah. I mean, maybe I'm giving it too much of a free pass. Like, it is interesting as you age too, and parenthood gives you the perspective of looking at this through the lens of caring about someone else more than you. I could handle it, whatever. Listen, there's worse traumas in life. This is not, I recognize that fully. And it's fine.
And it's a bit, right? But your career is not a bit. It was a bit for him, but
right.
Okay.
And do you know, and then from that point on to walk in media circles where I was established as this character in people's heads. And of course I pivoted to news after that. Everyone was like, this was like the era when Erin Andrews was coming up. And this was the beginning of the era of women in sports. If I had someone and Bob Pompiani was so amazing and encouraging. He would always say, Sonni, do sports. And I say, Bob, of course I walked away from it. Like, this was my initiation into that world. What am I going to deal with for the rest of my life, people? And like, I give credit to her. She went through horrible things, but that's kind of what the world was like for women at that time. It was still the butt of the joke, and it was still okay to be the butt of the joke. And so I always liked news, so I am glad that I pivoted. But I do think, if I were to be laying on a therapist's couch and being honest with it, that was scaring me away from that world in a big way.
Well, Sonni, first and foremost, we commend you for having that attitude and looking and getting through all that. I think there's a lot to be said for you today talking about it and putting it out there and having, the thought process that you do. So, that's awesome. That's great stuff. And your success afterwards definitely paved that way. And it's interesting you brought up about women reporters in sports, because you're right. 20, 25 years ago, it was very uncommon. Now today, women are doing play-by-play for an NFL game, which is awesome. So, I mean, it's very, very common, if not more common today than before.
Yeah.
Brian bounces off the screen. I think he wants to pivot to another
I'm
story.
back.
You want to pivot to another story. But that's all I'm going to say to Sonni is job well done. Great.
Oh,
great,
thanks.
Great attitude and awesome to hear that.
Thanks.
Sonni, I was just bringing this up because I know your time is limited. Kids are off school, right?
Yeah, I got like another 15 minutes or so. Yeah, I got to hop on another.
So right now in Pittsburgh, there's and we had this guy, Andrew Havranek from WPXI. He's in a Westmoreland County courtroom. He couldn't join us. But did you do live stand-ups when you did sports and news?
Oh, live all the time, yes. Mm-hmm.
So at Kenny Chesney's tailgate, let me take your name. I know that your requirement from your manager was your name had to be up the whole time.
My writer says the lower third has to stay up, Brian.
Yeah, that's right. So here's this guy, Havranek, in your corner. Let's see if I can make this a little. There we go. Great. Okay, so Havranek is at this Kenny Chesney concert doing his report, and this lady runs up to him, tries to kiss him. I have it. Let me see if I can just bear with us, Sonni. We're low budget.
No
here.
worries.
Right,
Listen,
let's move it over.
Doing the directing stuff, everything here.
Yeah, we can watch it. Let's see. Here we go. Where'd Sonni go? She's back. All right, Sonni. Oh, wait. Now
I'll stand by.
Right.
It's okay.
There we go. Let's give this a look and let's see your reaction to it.
Us live as Kenny Chesney fans file into Acrisure Stadium. Andrew.
Yeah, Rich, we've been hearing from officials all week that this was going to be one of the biggest weekends of the summer here in Pittsburgh, and it's not even officially summer yet. One of the reasons why is because the tens of thousands of people going into Acrisure.
Us live as Kenny Chesney fans file into Acrisure Stadium.
I love that on every level. Let me turn that up. I love it on every level. I love the guys with the Iron City beer behind him. I love the lady coming in to hug him and kiss him. But you've been there. That's really funny. So I can't say it's not. But
it's funny.
If you were doing it and Ed ran in on it, it would be a different story, right?
Yeah, that might be a little different. No, I've thankfully never had anything like that happen to me. It's hysterical. She gave him like the Italian like aunt kiss where you like grab the face, and she was going in hard. I love the one arm swat away too. Yeah, it's so funny. Like the crowd too knew exactly when he went live, and they went from like this to like in the background. I give him.
It was like a flash mob. Like when he went live, they all knew to come in.
They felt it. The force field changed, and they were like, "It's time." That's hysterical. I would love to hear it. I can't wait to like get his reaction to this on video at some point.
He's going to be on here. He was supposed to be on, but he's in a courtroom. But go ahead, Ed.
I was going to say that just has to be the worst of all reporter jobs, right? Hey, here's your assignment tonight. We're going to send you out to 80,000 drunk people to give a live report. The only other worst one is when, hey,
in a suit and tie.
And Sonny, you don't have to worry about this now because you're in Florida, but I'm sure you remember. This is
snow.
It's 4 a.m. We're expecting 8 inches of snow. We want you to drive around Pittsburgh and just give reports about how bad the roads are.
It was always like, go outside, report. And it was like on like the side of very busy roads too. And they're like, just tell everybody it's not safe to be outside. And I was like, but we are outside in a car, like, okay, whatever you say, I'll just do it,
Well, that's what's happening now. We're having a ton of tornadoes in Pittsburgh, unusually high amounts of tornadoes for the area. And, WPXI, which is, they always find the most white trash people to interview on the news, right? But they're giving these warnings: go inside, don't go here, stay in your basement, grab your pets, don't look at it, don't whatever. And then the next thing they'll go, and here's an actual video from one of our viewers who went outside to film it. It's like, guys, we're going to get blown away. We're going to have action shots of you in the funnel.
It's crazy. It's crazy. You can say whatever you want, but virality makes people want to do crazy things and get out there and try to get the best possible video.
Yeah. Well, listen, that the Andrew Havranek video is, of course, Pittsburgh loves Pittsburgh. So now we own crazy drunk ladies running in to kiss reporters like Morgana, the kissing bandit. So we own that now. But there's some people that we really want to talk to, and the missing person is the woman. He shoved her to the ground like TJ Watt, and I guess she rolled away and disappeared. No one has been able to identify that woman, but I think the internet will figure out who she is.
Oh my gosh. Can you imagine the shame that she must feel now?
What? If we found the bear lady, we can find her.
Well, this would be
grab the screenshot, and have people share it. Have you put missing person? Have you seen this woman?
Look, we have to just say, look, we want to meet this woman. Do you know who this? Here's the thing, guys. There's like 10,000 people who know who that lady is right now. No one has asked yet. So all we need to do is say, do you know who this person is? We'll find her immediately. She'll be tagged. She'll be the first tag in the post.
You should reunite them for the live interview on Oneberg.
Well, look, Sonny, it's like we share a brain. We have to go Springer style, Ed, with Havernack and go, that woman, you threw her, you said you felt bad, you hope she's not safe. Well, we have a surprise. She's here and she wants to confront you. Like, crowd starts chanting. It'll be great.
That's awesome.
Let's do it. I love it.
Well, Sonny, thank you. Before we let you go, is there anything that we can let all of Oneberg know? You did say, no, I won't hold you to it. You said you'd like to come back and talk
anytime.
Some Pittsburgh news.
I'm
not going to hold you to that after this experience.
No, I'll do it as much as you want. Weekly, monthly, yearly. Can I just show you before I sign off how Pittsburgh is always on my mind? My desk, I have a collection of Pittsburgh Skyline coasters.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Look at these. These were a gift from David Highfield when I moved to Florida. My Pittsburgh candle, not sponsored. This is a wonderful candle by Homesick. That's the brand. And so whenever I feel like I miss home, I smell my Pittsburgh candle. I look at my coasters.
Life, Ed.
I'm coming back in July too. So we do our yearly pilgrimage. The kids By the way, we could be like, we're going to San Tropez, and they'd be like, what? We want to go to Pittsburgh. I mean, they just think it is the bee's knees, and it is. So we'll be back in July too.
Ed, imagine this life. You're in Florida.
Right.
Mark Madden is 3,000 miles away. And David Highfield sends you a gift, and you open it up. You go, oh, another gift.
My
from
dream.
David. Ed is such a Highfield fan, Sonny. This is a dream come true for him.
I can arrange a meetup, Ed. You just let me know. I see David every year when I go back. He's my one of my favorite humans.
We need it. We need it. We want David on Oneberg with us. That's what we
need.
Need.
David's going to have to maintain the professional boundaries, though, as he is still an employee. He's not going to give you any swears or any spilt tea like I gave you today.
Right.
Yes.
100%. And that's what we want. That's what we want.
He's the best. I love him.
So what's funny is Highfield's cat is like a big topic of conversation.
Oh, really? On PTL or on here?
In life. I mean, this cat, Sonny, everyone knows this cat. It could have its own show. What's the cat's name? Marvin? Ed, Marvin.
Marvin. I think Marvin. I think not Marvin. I think it's Marvin. I thought it was Felix for a second, but I was ready to say Felix before.
I like that Ed is the go-to David Highfield expert. You want me to text him right now? Hold on. Let's see. Hey,
just text Highfield right now.
I'll text him while we wrap up. I'm going to say, what do you want me to ask him? Hey, what's your cat's name? Hey.
Well, we already know what the cat's name is, Sonny.
Maybe
you should say something like, wow, there's a lot of obsession online about your cat.
Okay, I got this. And I'll report back what he says next time.
Let us know. There's an interesting story when we do get David on that this is terrible, right? So I think he either lives in Lawrenceville or lived in Lawrenceville at the time. And it's funny. Well, we have a mutual friend from Montour High School that opened a restaurant in Lawrenceville, Matt Kavanaugh, but it's now closed. I can't remember what the name of it was.
Okay.
But I just happened to be in Lawrenceville, and where Kavanaugh's restaurant was, we're like Cafe Imana or Mono, whatever that's called.
Yeah, I lived in Lawrenceville too. So yes, I was right kind of down the hill from it, David. Yeah.
Yeah, so right on that strip, right where that cafe is, that's kind of like the beginning of Lawrenceville. Like there's not much before that. Matt opened this restaurant maybe like 2 blocks down. So you either were going to that restaurant or walking home. You weren't kind of like further down. So anyway, I don't know how this worked. And I'm a big guy. I'm 6'6", 275. I'm a big person. And David Highfield is walking down the street, and he's in front of me. And I don't know what he's doing on the phone or something. I got to get around Highfield. He's blocking the whole block, right? And so I go around him. I'm like, excuse me, Dave. And I keep walking because I recognize him, right? And I'm sure no one calls him Dave. Have you ever called him Dave?
Never. Only the full name. Cannot believe the level of disrespect, but go on.
Okay. So this Curb Your Enthusiasm moment, he probably, he's a gifted journalist. He probably has attention to detail. And I'm a huge person. So I walk by, excuse me, Dave, and I go. So about 4 days later, I'm at the same spot at Matt Kavanaugh's restaurant in Lawrenceville. And Dave and I are parking, and we walk in at the same time. And he looks at me, and I think for a moment he was like, this is the person that's going to kill me.
Your energy is too warm and kind.
He looked at me, and he knew me. He's like, it took a second. He's like, where is this barbarian from? And he thought, oh my God, this is the excuse me, Dave guy. And so I looked at him, he looked at me, and I didn't say anything because I thought he really thought like here it is, face to face with my stalker again in the same place.
Did he call you out for the shortening of the name? You jerk.
No, but it would have been great if he'd been like, excuse me, Dave. And he'd be like, it's David, bitch.
He is literally, probably the kindest, if not one of the kindest people in that whole business. He's the very best. And I will make sure that when I talk to him again, he knows that he should not fear for his life around you, even though you are a giant human.
Dave. Well, if you text him right now and said, hi, Dave, he would be shocked.
He said, he just wrote back, hold on. He said, oh, hey, I can't really tell you the rest because we had a little something else. Hey, you, that's so sweet. I said, we're talking about you on Oneberg. These hosts love you. And he said, hey, that's so sweet. Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, something else that we were talking about.
Sign off and just say, love you, Dave. All right, Sonni Abatta, thank you so much. We got to talk with Sonny.
Thanks,
We'll
Sonny.
put all of your channels and links and all the good stuff there. So Pittsburgh, who loves you, Sonny, Pittsburgh loves Pittsburgh, and you are Pittsburgh. There's a lot of people want to know what you're up to. So we'll get the info out to them.
Thank you very much. You can host my therapy session with Mark when this goes around, when this makes its media rounds.
Oh, that's going to be a new show. One-on-one, Berg. We're going to bring Haverneck and that kissing bandit on. And then like coming up next, a local sports journalist confronts an Orlando influencer. That's next.
There you
Oh,
go.
I can't. You
Thank
guys
you,
are the
Sonny.
best. Thank you.
Thank you,
There she
Sonny.
is, Sonny Abatta.
Always-
Wow, on one
Always a
bird.
pleasure. Always a pleasure with her, man. She is awesome. She's great.
Always been great.
Just a good, we've had her on before. We did our COVID show a few years back, and just warm and bubbly, and just an overall just great person. Great person.
I wonder if she says the same thing about you.
She definitely says it about you. I mean, you go
You
way
think?
back. You've known her way, way back. Now, did Sonny graduate high school with you, or was she a year ahead, a year behind?
Sonny, well, I don't know if I can't see if she's here, can hear us now, but Sonny and I, here's an interesting fun fact. She was a year younger than me at Montour. We ran as a ticket. We're as for president and vice president of Montour High School, like student body. And it seemed like a great idea. Sonny was so popular that like, if you just said, hey, it's sunny outside, people would go, yeah. So popular. The nicest person you can meet, just very popular. And then, of course, me, a force of nature. I thought this was great. And we lost. We lost bad.
You lost the Carruthers Sonny.
Wait, hold on. Sonny's still here.
Was not
Hold on, wait.
successful.
Sonny here.
Bring her back on.
Sonny's back. Sonny, didn't we
Wait,
lose?
I'm signing off. I took my headphones off and I had it on while I'm wrapping up my headphones. You know why we lost? Because there was an application deadline and I had the flu. I was your VP. I was your Julia Louis-Dreyfus, right? Wasn't she VP? And I missed the deadline because I had the flu, and I went in the next morning with a thing, and I can't remember. It was like a new assistant principal we got, and he's like, I'm sorry, it was due yesterday. And I said, I was home with the flu. He said, it's important that you learn about deadlines and have responsibility young. So I'm going to hold to this. And they didn't let me turn my application in. I tanked it for you. I'm so sorry.
Well, Sonny, we should have won that, but I guess I remembered it differently because when I think of you, you can do no wrong. So I couldn't even imagine in my wildest dreams that you messed that up for us.
Screwed it all up. I killed your political ambition. Anyway,
hold on a second, Sonny. Just wait 1 second. Ed, I have a big surprise for you. Mr. David, a.k.a. Dave Highfield, has commented that Sonny Abatta is the best.
Oh, he's the best. I love him. Look at his handsome face. Adore everything about him.
I wonder if he recognizes me looking at the screen right now. As
David, if you're watching, Brian is a gentle giant.
He goes, oh my God, it's my stalker from Lawrenceville.
It's like, I know that gray-haired guy right there.
I know that guy.
David, we love you.
Glasses move.
David, we're a big fan of you and everything you do. We want you on One Bird. We want you to come on our show. Let's make it happen.
Hey, Sonny, how about how fast Ed forgot about you?
You know,
no.
No, just kidding. I love Ed forever. He can do no wrong. It's all right.
Look how fast you're on here, and he's like, she's so charming, and we love to talk to her. Immediately, just a still photo of Highfield appears, and he goes, David, we love you.
Bring on Marvin.
Oh, yes. Oh, we definitely need that.
Yes. Well, thank you, David, for checking in. There he is, the great David Highfield's in print. Doesn't count yet.
No, not yet. We'll get him. All right. Bye, guys.
Sonny.
Thank you.
There she goes. Sonny Abatta, everybody. For real this time, I think. Well, I can't believe she ruined that for me.
She is.
I didn't get into the college I wanted because I didn't win that election. But Sonny went to CMU, and I had to go to lowly Point Park. Now, was it my 1.7 grade point average? Maybe. Or was it that Sonny Abatta, for the one time in life, screwed somebody over?
See, everything happens for a reason, my friend. If you don't go to Point Park, you and I never meet. And then we're not here today. We're not doing
Hold on a second, Ed. We have another comment from a viewer. It's coming from Dave Highfield in Lawrenceville that says, you guys are great.
Don't disrespect David. Don't say Dave. David.
I want to explain to Mr. Highfield the problem. And we're happy that he is he's there. Thank you, David. Look at me giving up on Sonny mid-conversation. David sent another message.
We
should have a segment on One Bird called Messages from David. Thank you, David.
Listen, Sonni is great, man. We should have her on every week. She brings it, man. I love it. Great stuff. Good stuff.
All right. Thanks, everybody. This was Pittsburgh Loves Pittsburgh. Thanks to our guest, Sonni Abatta. You can relive this magical moment on our Facebook channel, our YouTube channel, and, of course, on Spotify. And, Ed, you're going to return tomorrow to the airways with the Three Rivers podcast. Who do you have lined up?
Yeah, we got Brandon Short on tomorrow with us, McKee Sport
Penn
native.
State legend.
Penn State legend. He was on earlier this spring with us, so it'd be interesting to talk to him now about Penn State football as we turn the page to a new season. And we also have Matt Humbert, who's the head football coach at Bell Vernon, where I went, of course, back-to-back state champions. He'll be on to talk about that experience and about high school football in general. Of course, we have Al Quippa recently that got pushed back to 4A, so that's a big conversation piece to have with him. And then we also have we have a third show tomorrow. Is that going to be a Pittsburgh Loves Pittsburgh or a Three Rivers podcast?
That's going to be 2:00 tomorrow. Pittsburgh Loves Pittsburgh. The great Robbie Inkmankowski.
So we have 4 podcasts tomorrow: 2 sports and 2 Pittsburgh Loves. No, wait a minute. I'm getting my no. This was one of the 4. This is one of the 4.
We're busy. And then when will Dave come on?
Open invitation anytime he wants.
All right, everybody. And then, by the way, it is a big day on Oneburg tomorrow. We're going to have, like Ed said, Brandon Short from Penn State. The head coach of Bell Vernon High School football is going to talk about the season. Robbie Inkmankowski, the guy the Pirates said, go away on that field. We don't want you. We're going to find out why. And then tomorrow night, Sean Gibson, the great-grandson of Josh Gibson, is going to be on with Finoli and Fletch at 7:30 to talk about Josh, his great-grandfather, going into the record books officially for Major League Baseball.
How didn't we get that guest? We let Finoli and Fletch get that guest. Why didn't we get that guest? We messed up.
I reached out to him. I know. I reached out to him, and then I see all of a sudden Dave Finoli, the great historian, the great writer, sends me a message and says, hey, because he kind of talks squeaky. Hey, big guy, big news. Josh Gibson's great-grandson, Sean's coming on. I was like, all right, well, I'll back off. But I was texting with him, and he said he'd come on with us. But do we need to talk to him twice?
No, I think we're good. Tune in tomorrow night.
Finoli and Fletch, who are 2 baseball historians, they got this covered.
I agree. Thank you, my friend. Fun show today.
Ed Troop, thank you very much. Sonni Abatta, thank you very much. And the great Dave Highfield from Lawrenceville, thank you for commenting in. And we'll see you next time on Pittsburgh Loves Pittsburgh. Let's end it with a picture of that guy getting kissed by the woman. Bye, everybody.